Before the oceans, before the mountains, forests, or any living thing, before planets spun in the vast, silent darkness of the universe, there was only stillness. A silence so profound that time itself had not yet learned how to flow. But in an instant, everything was about to change. Imagine a point smaller than anything you can conceive, yet containing all the energy that would ever exist. Then, in a flash, an explosion of creation, the Big Bang. In less than a second, the universe burst into being, expanding with a force so immense that space, time, matter, and light were born from nothingness. This wasn't just an explosion in space. It was the explosion of space itself. From this cosmic firestorm, swirling clouds of gas and dust began to form. These were the primordial ingredients of everything that was to come, the building blocks for every star, every planet, and every galaxy. The universe was still a chaotic, fiery place, but within its swirling nebulae, the seeds of future worlds were sown, waiting for the right moment to awaken. Billions of years passed. The young universe continued to expand and cool. Galaxies formed like great cosmic islands in an ocean of dark matter. Inside one of these galaxies, our very own Milky Way, in a quiet, unassuming spiral arm, a colossal cloud of interstellar gas and dust began to stir. Pulled together by its own immense gravity, the cloud started to collapse inward, spinning faster and faster, growing hotter and denser at its core. After millions of years of this gravitational dance, the pressure and temperature at the center became so extreme that a star was born. A magnificent, brilliant fire ignited, and our sun blazed into existence. The leftover material from this stellar birth didn't just drift away. It formed a vast, spinning disk around the young star. In this cosmic playground, dust particles clumped together. Tiny pebbles merged into rocks. Rocks smashed together to form boulders, and these boulders grew into planetesimals, the early embryos of planets. Over tens of millions of years, through countless collisions and mergers, these infant worlds grew larger, clearing their paths around the sun. One of these glowing newborn spheres, orbiting at just the right distance, was destined to become our home. But the early Earth was nothing like the blue and green world we know today. It was a terrifying, hellish landscape. A molten ball of rock, with vast oceans of lava churning on its surface. Volcanoes erupted constantly, spewing fire and ash into a toxic sky filled with poisonous gases like methane and ammonia. There was no blue sky, only a murky, reddish haze. Violent lightning storms raged endlessly, and a relentless rain of meteorites and asteroids bombarded the planet from space. The entire world glowed with a menacing, fiery red heat. It was a world of chaos and violence, a truly inhospitable place. Yet, even in this inferno, the process of transformation had begun. Slowly, over millions of years, the planet began to lose its primordial heat. The surface started to cool and solidify, forming the first crust of thin, fragile skin of dark volcanic rock. As volcanoes continued to erupt, they released tremendous amounts of steam into the atmosphere. This water vapor rose and condensed, forming thick, heavy clouds that shrouded the entire planet. These clouds created storms of an unimaginable scale. And then, the first rain began to fall. Not for a day or a week, but for thousands upon thousands of years. This relentless, planet-wide deluge cooled the hot crust and began to fill the vast, empty basins. The first oceans were born, not salty and blue, but fresh and iron-rich, appearing dark and mysterious under a dim young sun. Around this time, early in Earth's history, a cataclysmic event occurred that would forever change our world's destiny. A protoplanet, roughly the size of Mars, which scientists have named Veda, collided with our young Earth. The impact was staggering, an explosion of energy beyond all comprehension. It was a glancing blow, but it blasted an enormous cloud of molten rock and debris from both bodies into orbit around Earth. For a time, our planet may have had a ring system, like Saturn, but gravity soon went to work again. This orbiting debris slowly began to clump together. The fragments merged, growing larger and larger, until they coalesced into a single, spherical body. Our moon was born. It was much closer to Earth back then, appearing huge in the sky. The moon became Earth's constant, quiet companion. Its gravitational pull stabilized our planet's wobbly rotation, preventing wild swings in climate. It created the powerful tides that would rhythmically wash over the shorelines, and it set a pace for the life that would one day emerge from the oceans it governed. As the great rains fell and the oceans grew, the planet's atmosphere was also changing. The continuous volcanic eruptions kept pumping gases from Earth's interior into the sky. Water vapor, carbon dioxide, nitrogen. These gases formed a thicker, more protective atmospheric blanket. This early atmosphere was still unbreathable for us, with almost no oxygen, but it helped trap heat from the sun, preventing the new oceans from freezing over. The world was settling down. The bombardment from space lessened. The planet was cooler, calmer, and covered in a global ocean. It was in the dark, silent depths of these primordial seas, rich with dissolved minerals and complex molecules, that the next great chapter of our story was about to unfold. The stage was set for the miracle of life. How exactly life began is one of science's greatest unsolved mysteries. But the leading theory is that it sparked into existence in the deep oceans, perhaps near hydrothermal vents on the seafloor or in shallow sunlit pools. Here, simple chemical compounds, energized by lightning or underwater volcanic heat, organized themselves into more complex molecules. These molecules eventually formed the first primitive cells, tiny self-replicating bubbles of life, far too small to see. They were incredibly simple, but they possessed the most extraordinary ability of all, the ability to make copies of themselves. They were alive. For over 1 billion years, these single-celled organisms were the only life on Earth. Some learned to harness the energy of the sun through photosynthesis. In doing so, they began to release a waste product, oxygen. At first, this oxygen was absorbed by iron in the oceans, but eventually, it began to build up in the atmosphere. This was a turning point. Oxygen was toxic to many early life forms, but it created an opportunity for new, more complex organisms to evolve, ones that could breathe. Over hundreds of millions of years, these tiny microbes slowly terraformed our planet, transforming the atmosphere and paving the way for the world we know today. With an oxygen-rich atmosphere and protective ozone layer in place, life exploded in diversity. It was a planetary revolution. The first multicellular organisms appeared in the oceans. Plants, initially simple algae, eventually colonized the land, turning the barren continents green. They were followed by insects, then fish that grew legs and crawled onto the shore. Vast forests spread across the land, creating new habitats. Amphibians gave way to reptiles, and the age of the dinosaurs began. They ruled the Earth for over 150 million years, until another cosmic collision brought their reign to an end. But life is resilient. Mass extinctions came and went, wiping the slate clean and allowing new forms of life to flourish. The world reshaped itself again and again. Mammals, once small creatures hiding in the shadows of dinosaurs, rose to prominence. And finally, in a recent moment of geological time, a new kind of animal appeared in the grasslands of Africa. An animal that could walk upright, use tools, and wonder about the stars. Humans had arrived, writing the newest, and perhaps most consequential, chapter in Earth's long and epic story. Our Earth is not just a rock floating in space. It is a living, breathing miracle, a world forged in fire and shaped by water, sculpted by time and blessed by cosmic chance. Every mountain that stands tall, every ocean that breathes with the tides, every lungful of air we take, carries the memory of these billions of years of history. From the fury of the Big Bang to the quiet dawn of consciousness, we are the inheritors of this incredible legacy. And today, we are the ones who continued the story, as the conscious mind of the planet, and the guardians of the only home we have ever known. Thank you for joining us on this journey through time. If you found this story of our universe as amazing as we do, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more explorations into the wonders of our cosmos.